Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to Akron Zip's Dynasty mode here in CFB 26. So last episode, if you did not catch it, we started up the season, and it's been a lackluster season for this team. I'm not too sure what the reason is for it, because technically on paper we do have a better roster than last year, but we're 3-5 and 0-4 against the conference, which has us not in a very good spot at the moment, so I'm really not expecting this team to make it to the playoffs after all, but I'm hoping we still have a good year for recruiting. But yeah, it just really sucks that this team's been this bad. Like, technically, I didn't want to go to team stats, I wanted to go to standings. I'll show you guys where we're sitting in the standings at the moment, but I don't really know exactly what's going wrong with the team. But yeah, definitely a disappointing year, especially if we end up losing a bunch of guys in the offseason and all that. But you can see right now here, we are all the way near the bottom because we have not won a game against the conference at this point. So teams like Kent State, who are 2-7, are above us. But we are literally like a 77 overall rated team, yet all these teams that are in the 60s and stuff are above us. So it's been definitely a disappointing year, but like there is some positives, I guess, to take away. Like, looks like we're still a okay team in terms of like offensive ratings, I guess, if we like sort this by our points for. You can see we're not that bad of an offensive team, but we just give up way too much, and that's been our major problem right now. So I don't really know if this team's gonna do anything good in this episode, but I'm really hoping that they figure themselves out, because we are technically on a 4-game losing streak. So at one point we were actually 3-1, I guess, and then we've dropped 4 in a row. So something's got to change, and I hope it happens relatively quickly. If it doesn't, hopefully we at least get some decent recruits in this episode. So with that said, I think we're ready to continue assimilating. I'm pretty sure we have our hours distributed the way we want to still. There's a good chance we're going to lose out on a lot of these 4-star guys that I was putting hours into. So I could probably already start to remove them, to be honest, but I might as well leave them for now. At this point, technically this guy has his deal breaker broken, which is interesting. Same with Fountain. Oh, just because of the championship contender status. Yeah, it's a disappointing year for a lot of ways. I guess we'll keep them on those 4 stars for now, but they'll probably commit to their teams within a week, which means then we'll get those hours back next week. So let's not worry about that right now. Let's see if our team can win some games, and then let's hope that we could actually do some good recruiting in this episode as well. Now, I don't think there's really any skills I should upgrade with the coins we have. Motivator and stuff like that, we could put more points into Motivator, hopefully. Interest boost, we have 36, so technically if we went 8 here, 16, 24, 36, so we can put them on 4 more. That's interesting. I'm trying to think if I want to put points on any of these or not. Maybe we'll put some on these, I guess, just because I want to kind of spend some points. So let's do wide receiver, tight end, and then we'll also do DL too. Sure, spend a couple points. We could technically spend more, but let's do that for the time being. And yeah, let's see if our team could figure themselves out a bit. We have a game against Bowling Green, who's 5-3 and 4-0 against the conference. Technically, we're the better team on paper, but will we win? Honestly, probably not. There's 69s across the board, so let's see if this team can maybe start off this episode a little bit better, and hopefully we get some good news on recruits relatively soon too. But we're probably going to get locked out here this week, likely. I guess, yep, we got locked up by those 2 4-star guys like I expected. So maybe I should have got rid of their hours right away, but we did lose that game. Wins, well, which is not great. So we're 3-6 and 0-5 versus the conference. I don't honestly know what the problem is, though. Like, I don't think we really changed anything that much between the seasons. Like, did we lose anybody that crucial last year? I honestly don't know. But yeah, Ellis and Rowe have committed to their team, so Ellis is on his way to, I do not know what that school is, and I think that's Louisville? Louisville? I think that's Louisville. If I'm not mistaken, it might be a different, actually, yeah, it says right there. Damn it, man. Louisville, and then the other guy went to Arkansas. So, and Lord has reached his top 5 schools, which we're currently number 1, so that's at least good, but Now we have at least a good chunk of hours to spend on some other people. Looks like we got a career record broken. So Lewis Griffin has set the Akron career receptions record now. So there's another record, I should say, for Lewis Griffin. At least that's a positive, but the team's still not winning games. So that's not a positive, but we're going to probably end up losing people here relatively soon too. There's another career record broken. Robert Thomas has now also set the receptions record. So shout out to Robert Thomas. That's his first record, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But 3-6, goddamn, man, what the hell's going on? Like, I don't know why we're this bad. There should be absolutely no reason for it, in my opinion, but maybe I'm doing something wrong. But that game, we end up losing 46-44. That was a close game, but once again, that's a game where we gave up way too much against. See, our offense isn't really the problem, it's our defensive play. So that's an unfortunate loss. Jennings threw over 430 yards that game, but still lost a game. Branham on 85 yards. Carter had over 100 yards of receiving yards, which is good, but goddamn. Yeah, damn. When is this team going to win again? They've lost so many in a row at this point. Like, this losing streak has lasted 5 games consecutively. Like, we were literally 3-1, and now we're literally 3-6. So, yeah, this is pretty disappointing, but hopefully some good recruits and stuff like that will make it a little bit easier for us. So, let's remove these 4-star recruits. Sucks that we don't get any this year. We do need to go to the prospect list for a second. We still need a shit ton of things, too. Goddamn, man. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Let's sort by rating. Is there any 3-stars that are on this list here? On the recommended, there is. In the areas of need, especially, like tackle is definitely an area we need to address on the offensive side of things. And then same with cornerback and linebackers. So let's throw our name into the hat for a couple of these dudes, just to try and get those numbers up there a little bit more. And then for same with the guard, I guess we'll do that as well. We'll find one person that we're number 1 on. We'll work on them. Actually, that guy is already on our list. I didn't even realize that. And same with Duggar, we'll do him too. And then for linebacker, let's add a couple of dudes here too. Let's go with you since we're number 1. And we will also go for you too. Sure, why not? We do need to put more hours into a lot of these guys. I'm not going to put a ton into the punter. This guy, I'm not even breaching his deal breaker right now. But, so we're probably not going to be able to get him, to be honest. Yeah, he's close to locking us out. So let's remove this dude. And this dude, we're in a race right now, but I can't get that championship contender status up there that much. So already going to remove him too. But let's put some more hours into these dudes. And try and get some work done, because this is a kind of a tough season for us. This might be our toughest since our first year, because we're not having the best results in terms of like recruiting and all that too. Let's do 10 on you. Duggar will do 10 as well, or 15 technically, I guess, with the scholarship. But yeah, I don't really know what the problem is, and I don't know if you guys do know either, but it's disappointing. Like, I'm at this stage where I feel like maybe the series should be close to over, but I honestly don't know. Maggio needs maybe a little bit more work spent into him. Yeah, sure. You know what? Let's add an additional 10 on him, since it's a little bit of a close race. There we go. So all our hours are spent. Hopefully some good stuff coming for us with that. We're taking on a 1-8 team in Central Michigan. They're 0-5 versus the conference, just like us. So one of us has to win this game. Please, guys, stop the bleeding and win this game. If you do not win this game, I am going to be quite disappointed. To say the least, I should actually say. But their ratings are 59s across the board. We should easily be able to beat them. Easily. But if we lose, I do not know what to say at that point. So let's see how we play in this game. See if we could get off that losing streak. But we're definitely not going to be a playoff team this year. But we might as well see if we could at least win a game near the end of the season. So we'll find out how that goes here shortly. Looks like we got a commitment, which is nice. That's our first commitment of the season. Brian Valles or Vallis or something like that from Cincinnati. So he has joined the team. I like that pickup. And that's our only one that has committed. We do have a person we lost on, which we'll come to that in a second. And we did lose that game. What the hell happened, man? How are we losing all these games? That team had 1 win in 9 attempts. 3-7 and 0-6 versus the conference. This has got to be the biggest fall off of all time. Holy crap. And we're 79s across the board now too, which means I think we're fully healthy because I think there was a couple injuries as well. But holy moly, man, this team is just falling off. So yeah, DeBose locked us out because he committed to Kansas. Aside from that, Crispin's reached his top 8 schools. Same goes with Duggar. Feely's reached his top 5. Same with McLean. And then Maggio and Nagy have reached their top 3. Nagy is a player that I don't know if we're going to be able to get unless I put a lot of hours into him. But looks like he's very close to committing to whatever other school that is. So that's unfortunate. But man, how did we lose that game? How did we do that? Career record's been broken, so Jeff Jennings is now the Akron career passing touchdowns record. So all these guys breaking awards because obviously Akron's not really that great of a school. But that looks like another one too. Robert Thomas has got the receiving yards now, so it looks like it's between him and Griffin on those, I'm guessing. And Robert Thomas was the player of the week, but we still lost. Oh, man. 205 yards, but no touchdowns. God damn. That's actually kind of insane. Wow. All right, well, this is disappointing, to say the least. And now we have a game against a 1-9 team. If we lose this game as well, we might be the worst team in the entire conference. Holy moly. I'm kind of curious on the scoreline from that last game. We'll take a look at that in a second. But this has been one of those seasons I just want to completely forget about. But yeah, Nagy's close to committing to that other school. And we are spending 50 plus hours on him. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get him potentially at this rate. We do have 60 more hours to spend, so we might as well spend a bit more on some of these other dudes that we have to get. This guy's committed somewhere, so we'll remove him. Let's add some hours to these guys with 10. Let's do some 5s onto them as well. Trying to make sure we at least get some recruits this year because it's not guaranteed that we're going to get anybody crazy this year. But obviously, if we lose a bunch of people, that could be even more of a downfall than how the season has been for us. So let's also add 5 to you, sure. Anybody else that needs a 5er? Yeah, you do need a 5er. Let's also give you a 10er just because I'm nice like that. And we might as well add 10 to the punter, even though the punter's not super important, I don't think. So we'll go with that. Goddamn, man. How did that game go, though? How did that game go? Like, did we just get blown out by a team that only had 1 win, or what? Oh, my God. The final score was 28-18. So our offense didn't show up fully in that game, or didn't score at least a lot in that game. But once again, we have problems allowing too much. Jennings threw over 350 yards. And as we saw, the receiving yards, Thomas was absolutely insane that game with over 200 yards. But not enough. Not enough. Is there any injuries that are still impeding our team or what? Let's take a look at that injury report. Where do I take a look at this again? Team? Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's see. Let's still out for 10 more weeks with a broken ankle. I'm not too sure if that's the injury that derailed their season or what, but it's actually kind of incredible that we're this bad after we went to the finals last year. Or the championship game, I should say. Alright, well, now we're taking on UMass, who's 1-9 and 0-6 versus the conference. They're technically better than the team we just lost to, so I don't really know if our team has it in us to beat them. But at this point, we might be the worst team in the entire MAC, which is excruciating in terms of last year we were so good. Well, week 13, let's see if we could end the bleeding. Or is the bleeding going to continue into the offseason potentially too? Come on, guys. Just give me at least one more win this season. Looks like somebody locked us out. Yep, Nagy committed to Wake Forest. That's unfortunate. We did win. Okay, well, we finally won a game at the end of the season. 4-7. Our championship contender jumped to C-, which is good. So that should help in terms of those guys that were potentially deal breakers before. We did take them off our list, though, I think, right? Or maybe we didn't. But yeah, Nagy has committed to Wake Forest, so we can't get Matthew Nagy, unfortunately. Rochelle has reached his top 8. And then Treadwell and Scasia, I don't know how to pronounce that, have reached their top 5. Lockett's reached his top 3, and he's close to committing to us. All right. But we did win that game, so that's a positive, of course. There's another career record broken. Branham has now set the rushing touchdowns record. All right. Shout out to Branham. A lot of records still getting broken in a bad season. We're 4-7 now, and our last game of the season, I think, is against North Illinois here. So good to see us finally win a game and break that losing streak. Maybe that will help some of the guys play a little bit better going forward, but it's obviously a little too late for that. So in terms of the stats from that game, actually I didn't want to go to week 12. We wanted week 13. Actually, no. Wait, what happened? It doesn't say any box score in that game. Aren't we in week 14 now? What the hell? Did that game not even happen? Or did both teams get credited with the victory? No, we got the victory, I think. I don't know what's happening. That's weird. Because it gave us a win, but it doesn't show it there. I am confused. If we go to the conference standings, does it still show us with 4 wins or 3? 4 wins, yeah. See, it gave me a massive loss, but it doesn't say anything about the scoreline from last week's game. That's kind of strange. But yeah, we're currently in second last. Oh my god, that's actually crazy. Because we're 1-6 against the conference. Buffalo has not lost a game against this conference. They're 10-1 on the season. But technically we have better stats than them, so I'm kind of confused. But if we're looking at a little update here, we are still one of the best offensive teams, but we're also one of the worst defensive teams. So defense needs a lot of work, I guess, going forward. But well, let's go to recruiting, and then we have our last game, I think, of the season, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll take Nagy off our list. We have 50 more hours. What do we drastically need that I haven't spent a lot of hours into? Let's see, prospect list. We do need a center, but I feel like we need defense badly in terms of players this year. So let's go to edge rushers and sort this by rating. Let's go with this guy because we're actually first on his list already. And then we will also go for this Nagy instead since we couldn't get the other one. Just throw some interest on them and maybe that'll help things a bit. So we'll do a 5er and a 10 and a 5. And then this guy, we'll do a 5er. We'll do a 10 and a 5. And then we have 10 hours left. We can put that towards some other people potentially. Let's do... Actually, I guess technically a lot of these guys already have 5 hours spent. Some. Is there anybody that needs a 10er? So maybe I could put a 10 on somebody. This guy needs a 5er, so let's do a 5er on you. And nobody else needs a 10er. Actually, no. Oh, this guy needed a 10er, Scasia. So I guess maybe we'll go back up and take 5 hours off of Maggio, I guess, just because he's already got some hours spent on him. I just want to make sure we're using all of our hours as much as possible here. So we'll go back to this dude. Who was it that needed a 10? It was Scasia, right? Yeah, it was Scasia. So we'll do here and do 10. And there we go. Hopefully that helps things a little bit with that. But our last game of the season, I think North Illinois, they are actually decent offensively. So I don't think we're going to do good. If they have an okay offense, our defense has not been there. So we'll see if the team could end off on another win. But obviously disappointing, that losing streak. Because that losing streak is what made us fall off so hard. So let's see how this last game goes. And see if we could string together a couple wins in a row. And we got locked out by Maggio because he committed to UMass. We'll come back to that in a second. We lost again. Seems like any team with a decent offense is just too tough for us. As we are going to probably finish the season off 4-8. which is absolutely terrible. 1-7 versus the conference. Yeah, that's a really tough season, man. But yeah, Maggio's locked us out. This guy has already reached his top 8 schools. Willingham top 5, and Witherspoon top 3. All right. Hopefully we at least get some people committing to our school soon. That'll make it a little bit easier this season, but I don't know who we're going to lose this off season because of this year, but a really rough season, which sees us, where do we finish, I guess, technically, because I don't think there's any more games left. Technically, we finished second last. We only finished above UMass, but we were 1-7 versus the conference. Buffalo was a perfect 8-0. That's crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy. And like I said, our offense was good. We were the second best offensive team in the MAC, but our defense just absolutely crapped the bed this year. It was the third worst defense in the MAC. So we were positive in terms of margin of victory and differential. But my God, 2-4 on home and on the road. Yikes. Well, there's definitely some stuff that we'll improve on next year, hopefully, but I'm really hoping we don't lose anybody good this season. Let's go back to recruiting. Do we have any hours? Yes, 45 hours because Maggio locking us out. Let's spend those on maybe another player of need. Let's go back to... Let's go back to cornerback or outside linebacker. Let's go cornerback. Take a look at some more of those. I honestly don't know what we're losing this offseason, so I'm a little bit nervous. There's some 2-star guys. At this point, we just need bodies, so let's add a couple 2-star dudes as well that we should be able to easily lock in. So go back to our recruiting board and try and get some at least 2-star guys in on quarterback to fill up more roster space. So we'll do that 5er, and we will do... we'll also do a 10... And we'll do a 5. And we'll do a 5 there. And then we'll do a 10. Actually, let's do a 10. And we'll do a 5. And then we have 5 hours left. Anybody need a 5? Or should I just offer a scholarship to another random dude? Guess so. Alright, let's see what else we need. We do need strong safeties, apparently. So, yeah, that's another area we for sure need to target. So, let's go over to there. Any crazy high overall players or potential players? Dubois. Let's throw our name onto the hat for him. Maybe he should have actually more hours spent on him, though, because he's a 3-star recruit. So let's remove actually a bit of hours on these 2-star guys for the time being, just because they're 2 stars. And let's go to Dubois here. Actually, I might remove 5 hours on one of these dudes as well, sure. So he's not even getting anything basically other than a scholarship. Dubois, let's do 25 on you. Perfect. Okay. So that's all set up and ready to go, which means now we're into, I think, the off-season stage before we get to who's leaving us. I really hope that we get maybe some more commitments before the end of this episode, but we might not. So obviously there's also still bowl week and all that to go through though too. Alright, so we have been locked out by that 2-star guy who I literally just added because I didn't put any hours into him. That's kind of funny. Didn't realize he was that close to committing. Or not committing really, but... yeah, that Barcow guy, actually he did commit to Old Dominion. So let's, we'll have to remove him for sure. Kofi Nagy's reached his top 8. And Incognito, the punter, has reached his top 5. Alright. Well, at least that's some positives. Let's continue to go through this. Conference championship is today, apparently. Auburn and Georgia. Huh. Those are the top schools, technically. Alright, let's continue to go through this. Oh, man. How is our team not going to play? Who is playing actually in the conference championship? It's got to be Buffalo, right? Because they were one of the top 2 teams. I didn't see who the other one was, though. Let's see. Who is playing... Buffalo and Toledo, it looks like, which is kind of insane. Like, how is Buffalo actually that crazy good and Toledo that crazy good? Like, they have worse defensive ratings than us, but we were worse defensively than them. Well, let's get through these anyways, just find out all this stuff and get ready for the off-season episode next. But McLean has reached his top 3, Skashia as well, and Duggar's reached his top 5. There's some XP just because Simile in a week with no games. Yeah, disappointing, man. I'm really scared who we're going to lose because I'm not too sure who's close to retiring or leaving technically. Sergio Slater, the Heisman Trophy winner for Georgia Bulldogs. All right. Don't really care too much on that. And now we're at Bowl Week 1 of 4, which we didn't even get invited to any bowl games, I don't think so, just because we were that bad. All right, we'll keep, let's see, manage staff. This is an area that I don't know if that still would help us out if we actually changed our offensive coordinator. Our defensive coordinator is a D+. Maybe that's something that needed to be readjusted. I'm not even sure if we could actually hire and fire coaches or how it works. He's got 2 years remaining. Huh. Oh well. Maybe that's why we fell off a lot. Maybe the AI signed us a defensive coordinator that we need the last offseason and I didn't even realize, but still. Goddamn. Staff moves. Let's take a look at this for a second. So it looks like UConn's head coach is retired. Same with San Jose State. Same with Charlotte. And same with Kansas. For the national. Actually, this is just for national. I don't care about national. What about the MAC? Nothing's changed in the MAC. Okay. But a couple of coaches also, our defensive coordinators actually went to the NFL. Interesting. So there's that. And yeah, I think we're ready to keep on advancing through these bowl weeks. Hopefully we get some recruits soon, which is not yet. I don't know if they commit until the off-season part, so yeah, there's nothing to take a look at during these bowl weeks just because we're not in any bowl games, which is rather disappointing. All right, 3 of 4. Let's do 3 of 4 and then 4 of 4. And then we probably will find out who's leaving his team. And I'm, like I said, not feeling great about that because there's probably going to be somebody good that I don't want to lose already. All right, the national championship is this week. Who's playing in it? Out of curiosity. It will be the Michigan Wolverines and the Ohio State Buckeyes. All right. Ohio and Michigan. All right. Let's advance through that. Who is going to win? Probably going to be Ohio, my guess. I don't know. We got some more XP. That's good news. Everything else doesn't matter. Let's see. So 2030 CFB update. So let's see. It was, let's see. Yeah, Ohio did win. Ohio did win 38-30 over the Michigan Wolverines. So Ohio State has won this year. Georgia got knocked out a little bit earlier, so all right. There's that. Staff moves. Let's go to this for a second. Is there anything here? No, we already saw that all. A lot of coaches getting hired by other teams and all that. So that's all good. End of the season. Now we get to find out, I think, if I'm not mistaken, who's leaving the team this season, right? York has reached his top 3 schools. We're still number 1 by a large margin, so that's good. We've dropped up to half a star, but we're still 79s across the board, which is surprising. But yeah, next is the players leaving. Who are we going to lose after a disappointing year? And hopefully there's nobody crazy good on this that's leaving. So let's start off with our quarterbacks. Apparently Sharp wants to transfer due to playing time again. Very low persuasion chance. We could definitely try and persuade him again if we want, but I don't know if he's going to really get a lot of playing time with Jennings, depending if Jennings decided to graduate or not. Halfback Purvis has transferred. Oh no, I already see one. Purvis, yeah, he's transferred to Coach Prestige. We could try and bring him back, but Dion Branham has graduated. And that's an absolutely big one to lose. That's an absolute big one to lose. There's his career stats, 4 years with the team. And obviously, wasn't he like the all-time, like, did we say rushing touchdowns or something? I don't even remember exactly, but oh boy. That's a tough one to lose. I want him still here, but he graduated. I don't even know if he's going to get drafted into the NFL, but he was a good player here. Truin is also left as well. He was one of our first selections, I think, of the series. Fullbacks, nobody. Wide receivers, oh my goodness. Yep, we lost also some other good players to graduation. Well, Larry North is wanting to transfer due to proximity to home. Extremely low to bring him back. It would be good if we could bring him back, though, because we just lost Lewis Griffin, who's another guy that has a bunch of records here. Yeah, this year he'd had way less receiving yards. I don't know if he got less playing time or what, but... oh, god damn it. So Lewis Griffin and Robert Thomas, so our 4-star guy, has left as well due to graduation. He might be actually a guy that makes the NFL, I'm not too sure, but god damn it, man. This is why this year was a big year for us to maybe make it back and win, but our window of opportunity with those guys have ended. Bibbs is also graduated. Same with Strauss. Anybody else? Bullock wants to transfer to the pro potential. Reese has graduated. Edge rushers. Playing style for Sweat and Mundy. They both want to leave. Defensive tackles. Mayette has graduated. Anybody else? God damn, man. Woods has graduated. Wake has graduated as well already. Lett has graduated too after that injury season. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I don't even know if I really want to do another season now that I'm seeing all these guys leave. DeAndre Heath has also graduated. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. This is disappointing. Anthony Davis has also graduated. God damn, man. I really thought that this team would have had a better year this year with the roster, but Wall, Maja, Aguide, and even Hooks already has graduated too. I thought Hooks was younger, but I guess not. Damn. Alright, well that's very unfortunate. And then there's our punter who's an 87 overall, who is also graduated, so it's good that we picked up another punter potentially in incognito, but goddamn, that sucks. So we have a chance to bring all these guys back. I'm already actually going to do this part, I think, just because I kind of want to get to the next part of the offseason. So let's try and bring back a couple guys since we have 4 persuasions. Sharp is actually going to leave too because he didn't get persuaded. We also should probably be trying on North for sure. And he's not been persuaded too, so we will not be getting North back. And we just lost Griffin, and we also just lost Thomas. So wide receiver is going to plummet, which means our offense is going to plummet. Sweat, I want to try and get you back. He has not been persuaded. And I guess the last one, we need defense pretty bad. So, I guess we will try with Mundy, honestly. I don't even know. I've not been persuaded. Well, nobody's coming back that wanted to potentially come back or had a chance to. Wow. That's disappointing too. Anything else that I want to do before this episode ends, though? Let's see. What's next again? I just wanted to go through that part. Top 3 schools for Whitehair. Ottawa top 5 schools. Still at 79s across the board, but it'll likely change here shortly. And now I guess we could do one last thing, which is obviously there's going to be more recruiting and stuff like that going on in next episode. We're going to have to put all these hours back into these guys. A lot of people, their deal breaker has dropped off, so we might not be able to get them, which is unfortunate too because a lot of them are close to committing. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get these guys in, but we need to spend all these hours on these dudes here. So that's going to be definitely done in next episode. But aside from that, the last thing that I wanted to take a look at was if anybody on this team got drafted into the NFL. And nobody did. So Robert Thomas, not even good for the NFL. Either is that 87 overall punter. That's crazy. So nobody made it from our team. Nobody. So Griffin and all those guys were so good, but they aren't good enough for the NFL. That's actually insane. Well, I guess we aren't technically a good school still, but my goodness. I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed. This series was fun early on, but we're starting to lose all those guys that I really liked on this team. And our team just had a disappointing season after a year that they probably should have gone further. Let's be real. But yeah, I'm quite disappointed. So, anything else we want to do before we end the episode? I don't think so, right? Because what is our roster looking like now with all those losses potentially? We do have some 80s, so actually it's not the worst, but wide receivers, I mean, technically our wide receivers, it's still showing Robert Thomas here, though, even though he just graduated, so I'm guessing that this still has to update. But once that updates, if we look at wide receiver, you can see that we would basically be relying on JoJo Carter, then Amerson, and that's it, basically. It's not even showing North here anymore because he left, but why is it still showing Thomas and Griffin even though they graduated? I'm confused. Yeah, I'm very confused. I don't know if it's supposed to do that or not, but we definitely need still a lot of players. At least Jennings is still here for another year, at least. But our roster is getting worse and worse for sure. So maybe we'll do still another season of this, but I definitely think that the series is kind of getting closer to the end, unless I want to try and still get this team a championship. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Akron Zips Dynasty mode. So next episode, we'll do some off-season recruiting. Hopefully we can land some decent players to help fill out the roster more, just because of all those guys that graduated and that we lost. But disappointing year for sure. I don't know how good we'll be next year, but I'm hoping that there's a way that this team could kind of bounce back from this last season. But honestly, after all those losses, like losing guys like Robert Thomas and stuff like that, potentially, I just don't know if this team's going to have the offense that they used to have. And then obviously we were really bad defensively this season, so we might be even worse next year potentially. So let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.